138 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Brawl.
Andre the Giant.
Gonna get his leg set on the bruiser.
Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
his opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.
Welcome in to another edition of the Retro Wrestling Rewind. As always, I am the world's greatest professional wrestling ring announcer.
Unemployed wrestling announcer.
Yes, fuck Justin Roberts. I am jealous of that bastard. You know, I wish I had his job in AEW. If you can hear him sometimes on the broadcast, they have shitty audio quality, but that's beside the point. So do we sometimes. I'm David Fine, alongside the true Long Island Ice Z, Alex G, who, come to find out, bought a really expensive American Girl doll for his daughter.
I did.
That is a true hero in my book. I mean, I would never spend that much money on my son. Oh, it's American Girl doll, so he probably wouldn't play with dolls. But you play with dolls, and you said you bought something else new, a new action figure.
I did. I got a 1984 Superpower Superman. He cost $40. He's in pretty good condition. He does have some paint loss on his knuckles a little bit, but you know, he has an authentic cape, which is in good condition. Overall, the paint job is pretty good. So I'm really happy with that, since I'm going to start collecting Superpowers, the line from Kenner, as of this air date. So hopefully throughout this next year, I'll acquire more of those. Not hard to find, but hard to find in good condition, that's for sure. They were often played with and pretty fucked up. So, you know, you can get ones that are missing parts or their paint is rubbed off, or they're missing capes. Capes are very expensive. Now, authentic capes will cost you upwards of $20 on some of these figures, something to keep in mind if you're interested in collecting these. So just be aware. The line, again, it's 1984, 1985, you know, DC, which I do enjoy personally. So again, it's another childhood artifact. I had these figures growing up. I want to reacquire them. I want to put them on display for everyone to see. So that's what I'm doing.
All the friends that you invite over to your house, right?
I don't have any friends anymore. I have one friend. You know why I don't have any friends? It's because I'm a bad friend.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's the reality of the situation. I've come to terms with that I'm just a really shitty. I don't call enough. I don't text enough. Otherwise occupied. I'm always busy.
You're always working. You're always like, I'm working. I can't talk.
I have kids and shit. It's tough, man. And you know, I can't, you know, hang out with the boys like I used to. Just the way it is.
I mean, I had no friends growing up, and you know,
Still don't have any friends.
I don't. It was I couldn't even have an imaginary friend. They didn't even want to be my friend. It was weird.
You smell bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's beside the point.
How do you get fucking shit stains on the front of your underwear? That's what I want to know. Can we talk about this for a second? How do you get doo-doo stains on the front?
I don't know. It never happened to me. Did it happen to you?
Oh, you're a goddamn liar, first and foremost.
I do not lie. Thank you very much.
The doo-doo stains.
Anyway, speaking of a shit stain and a shit show, that was a good segue. Last week we spoke about the first ever In Your House pay-per-view. It was a
Not
shit
in
show.
your house, in my house.
In my house pay-per-view. 1995, it was a shit show. But this is a great show that we're speaking about this week. We are talking about the Royal Rumble in the year of 19...
Rating's a little high. I would say it's significant.
19... Okay. Listen here, brother. Everyone's got their own opinions on shows. You probably think that the show that we're going to be covering next week, the UWF show, which you want to explain what show we're going to be covering next week so people can look it up on the old YouTube?
UWF Beach Brawl from 1991, live from Palmetto, Florida. Main event of this show was Dr. Death Steve Williams taking on Bam Bam Bigelow. It gives me an opportunity to be wax poetic about legendary wrestling promoter Herb Abrams.
I cannot wait till you. I mean, the people at home are waiting for you to wax poetic.
Did you ever watch the UWF? Like it was probably on near you.
Yeah,
like it was on Sports Channel up here.
Yeah, I used to love UWF, but
you're a fucking goddamn liar.
I told you I don't lie. I do not lie.
The people who like UWF, Herb Abrams UWF, are the same people who like the AWF. We'll talk about that at some point. That's insane.
But
they had a round system in there.
Yeah. So. But speaking of first, Royal Rumble 1988, it was the first ever Royal Rumble. It came to us north of the border in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 18,000 Canadians. I don't know what that translates. Oh, it's just 18,000 people.
I wonder if Edge was there.
I don't know. Maybe he was.
You should text him or tweet him on Twitter.
I'll tweet him on Twitter.
On Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, if
you know, I never got that because birds tweet. I just got that the other day, and the bird is the symbol.
Oh my God, you're an idiot. If you want to tweet us, just at the RW Rewind, and of course the rwrewind.com is our website.
If you get ignored, it's not you, it's him, because he's not active enough on Twitter. But that's another story.
Sorry, I don't have 5,000 bots on our Twitter account.
Russian bots.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Russian bots. Regular bots, not so much. But let's run down.
I think Chuck Norris would disagree.
Yeah, probably. The first match that we had on the card.
No.
I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. You want to go backstory leading up to this first ever Royal Rumble?
This is what makes this show significant. No one gives a shit about fucking Ricky Steamboat taking out Rick Rude in probably the worst match they ever had, sans WrestleMania 4. No one gives a shit about that. This is the point I want to make, and it's very important, and I think everyone needs to listen to this.
I'll be back.
This is a microcosm of Vince's fears. Now, Vince is a man's man, as you know. He doesn't fear a lot of things, and I think the three things that you can point to that Vince is very afraid of when in business, by the way, is, first and foremost, that steroid trial was very scary for him, right? As we know, he almost went to jail. Although I think those charges were trumped up. I 100% believe that.
Donald trumped up?
Sorry. I wouldn't say that. That's kind of high praise for Vince, to be honest. In addition to that, he's very much fearful of a wrestlers' union. He went to lengths to make sure that did not happen. And I think the biggest thing he was afraid of in business is Ted Turner. And you're probably wondering, how does Ted Turner fit into all of this? I'm of the belief that in 1986, 1987, this man was very afraid that Ted Turner was either going to purchase or partner in with Jim Crockett Promotion, give them a lot of cash and capital and sway in terms of television and pay-per-view. So I want to say this, and I'm going to speak out of turn like I always do. I want to say that Vince's intent here was very much to put Jim Crockett Promotions out of business before they can get a deal done with Ted Turner. Now, that failed, and we'll go into why that failed in a little bit because it's very important. Leading up to this show was very important. Starrcade moves to Chicago. Starrcade's going to be on pay-per-view. Vince is like, fuck that. Pay-per-view is my business. I own pay-per-view, right? He went to a lot of the cable stations. It was like, you can't carry this fucking Starrcade pay-per-view. I'm going to put on the show the same night. I want to have Survivor Series. And if you don't carry Survivor Series and you pick Starrcade, I'm not going to put WrestleMania 4. Now, everyone was super hyped for WrestleMania 4 because of the hype of WrestleMania 3. So a lot of cable stations did not carry Starrcade, and Starrcade failed. So Jim Crockett, being undeterred, was like, fuck it. The WWE had put all these rules in. You can only run pay-per-views at a certain time. So really quickly after Starrcade, he puts on the Buckhouse Stampede, which is the same night as this show. So Vince is like, I can't really throw on another pay-per-view at this point to go against the Buckhouse Stampede. But instead, I'm going to do this big show called the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to put it on free TV on the USA Network. Because, they wanted to kill Jim Crockett's pay-per-view business. So Jim Crockett, being beaten up, especially about the poor booking in the end of 87, going into early 88, is looking for something to do. So he goes to his friend Ted Turner, and he gets Clash 1 on the air on TBS. which helps Crockett for a while, but unfortunately, Crockett is spending money left and right. Expansions are expensive. I think Jim Crockett found that firsthand, and eventually Vince's fears are realized because the Turner, Ted Turner and the Turner Company purchased Jim Crockett Promotions and renames it WCW. What Vince didn't know at the time, and what probably would alleviate his fears, is that the Turner Corporation were completely inept on how to run a wrestling promotion up until, and probably you can make an argument for their entire time they were in business, but stands a couple of years with Eric Bischoff and Nitro. So, long story short, this show, along with Survivor Series, were created to destroy Jim Crockett's pay-per-view business. So this is why we have this. Moving forward, this is an important show because it's the lead up to the main event. Now, the main event is a prime time special on NBC, which has one of the most memorable angles of all time on that show. And we'll talk about that as we go through the process here.
Yeah, it was a good show. Like you said, it was the first Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, only 20 men. I want to put that out there. It was only 20. They had been doing Royal Rumbles on house shows for a while to kind of test the waters with the concept. Again, this is a Pat Patterson concept. And it's amazing. It's something different but familiar. It's very much a battle royal to a certain degree. It's very much similar to a Bunkhouse Stampede, even to a certain degree. And their WWF were running Bunkhouse Stampedes at their house shows as well. Again, they had some other concepts too that were just house show only. King of the Ring being the most notable one before they brought that to pay-per-view. So again, this is where it all starts. It starts in Canada here with a bunch of Canadians. And we have this 4-match card.
Yeah, do you think it's because they had the Rumble? That's the.
Rumble was. Again, this is a TV special, so this is not a pay-per-view. So this is not a pay-per-view.
So they did have a. I think. Okay.
There's commercials involved here, so you got to keep that in mind as well. And it's a 2-hour show.
Okay. This is we're arm show booking. Just say if. Back in the day, back at WrestleMania, all the WrestleManias, all the big shows, if they had the WWE Network, where they could just go on forever. Do you think that would have changed the way any of these shows turned out?
No, because I don't think they were necessarily concerned about time. You'll see some of these WrestleMania shows with 14 matches on them. Look at WrestleMania 4, look at WrestleMania 5. They're very long shows. You might get a couple more minutes in terms of the matches, but again, these super long shows are usually in stadiums and not in arenas. WWE was still running arenas at this point. They should go back to arenas for WrestleMania, but WrestleMania should be 2 nights. So that's a whole other thing. But possibly, they always say that people back then had a longer attention spans, but we were watching a lot of wrestling back then. I think if I did the math correctly, I'm like watching 12 hours of wrestling. And then 1991 for sure. So possibly.
That's a lot of wrestling.
Yeah, you're watching all the WWF shows. You have Superstars Challenge, Prime Time, the occasional MSG show that would happen every 6 weeks. Then you have all the WCW shows, Pro and Worldwide, and Saturday Night, main events. And on occasion, you'll get a pay-per-view. On occasion, you'll get a Clash of Champions or set as main events. And then you have whatever promotions are popping up on TV, like a Hurry from UWF, AWF, ECW, whatever that is for that particular time. AWA, still reruns global. So I was watching, no matter how good, or I was watching Glow. I didn't give a fuck. No matter how good or how bad the wrestling is, it's wrestling. I'm going to want to watch it, even though some of that AWA stuff was old, for sure, on ESPN. So
You used to love Glow?
I like Hollywood was my favorite.
Yeah, I would say she's, yeah. Did you, speaking of that, did you watch the, I think it was a Netflix show about Glow?
No, I've heard. My stepson watched it. He said it was really good, so I might have to give that a. There's only so much hours in the day, and I'm doing a lot of other things, so I don't get to watch like TV shows like that very often. I don't get the opportunity to binge watch. Now I did watch The Mandalorian because it was fantastic, but other than that, I don't get to watch a whole lot of TV.
Yeah, I mean, you working all the time. I mean, you gotta make that money to satisfy that habit of collecting wrestling dolls. So.
I don't have any. Actually, I only have one wrestling action figure. It's a Randy Savage retro style Hasbro figure that Mattel put out. So that's the only wrestling figure I have. Those are weird. I didn't really like the LJNs. Their paint applications were probably the worst in the history of action figures, and they're rubber fucking bricks that you can smash. There's no pulsability at all with them. You can really do anything with them.
I fucking love the LJNs. I mean,
hit someone in the face with it. The thumb wrestlers were probably better.
Nah, you love having the anyway. But that's beside the point. But yeah, I mean,
your thumb smells like celery like all year round. I don't know why. It's weird.
Oh man, let's get this. Do you have anything else you would like to get off your chest about leading up to this first ever Royal Rumble?
This show was the highest viewed wrestling program on cable TV at the time. It hit a 8.2 rating on cable, which is fucking fantastic. And you have the contract signing with Hogan Andre, which is nice. Hogan looking very much like Rip from No Holds Barred on this show.
God, I hated No Holds. We got to watch that.
Fucking dope movie, Dookie.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of No Holds Barred, you know who's going to be at WrestleCon, which I will not be at?
Zeus?
Yep.
Zeus is going to be there?
Yep, and Pete Rose as well. So.
Okay.
And also probably Virgil, but that's.
Yeah, he does all those things.
Yeah, I know, but anyway. But the first match we had on the card was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat taking on Ravishing Rick Rude. 16 minutes, 40 seconds. If you watch it on the network, it's this is a pet peeve of mine. I know they don't want to pay the royalties for this music, but some music just sounds like shit if someone walk into the ring. I mean, it's just
his dubbed version of his song is really bad. I don't understand. Like, they lost the rights to use that because, I don't know. Like it's on all the Coliseum home video releases. I don't understand why they're having such a problem with that particular song now. Like, it's a dope song and it fits him so well. And you have this weird Chip and Dale fucking song that really it kills a lot of the Rude matches.
Yeah. Yep.
But you won't talk about Ricky Steamboat. We've seen better Ricky Steamboat versus Rick Rude matches. This match goes on for fucking ever. And even the other matches, Steamboat and Rude didn't have good matches in WWF for whatever reason. I don't know why. They would have 4 years later in WCW, they were having these amazing matches, but here not so much.
No, I mean it's Ricky Steamboat. I mean he was. I loved him against the Macho Man.
On the way out too. He's not long for this world. He lost a lot of momentum when he dropped the IC belt to Honky, and he took that time off for the birth of his child. But unfortunately for Ricky, he lost a lot of steam.
You're funny. Ricky, the Dragon Steamboat. Yeah, I mean, this match, it was a good first match. Second match we had on the card, your favorite tag team, the Jumping Bomb Angels.
Yeah.
Taking on the Glamour Girls.
Or I like to call them the female version of the Road Warriors because they work like the Road Warriors.
Yes, that was for the WWF Women's Tag Team Championship. So the WWF had a tag team title before this new Women's Tag Team Championship that they had. So, folks, it's not a new thing. It's just a retreaded and rebranded idea by Vince.
They use those belts off and on since '83. So it was Princess Victoria and Velvet McIntyre, and then Desiree Peterson and Velvet McIntyre, and the Glamour Girls won it, I guess, and then the Jumping Bomb Angels, they win it here, and then they lose it back to the Glamour Girls in June, and then it's deactivated.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
not long for this world. I mean, I'm pretty sure they brought those belts in because the Bomb Angels were coming in. Um, yeah, they said they won it in Cairo, Egypt, August 1st, 1985, which is weird to me. Which I'm pretty sure did not actually happen.
it's kind of like the first ever IC champion. Pat Patterson didn't actually win his. There was actually a tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So it's like, it's wrestling. I mean, it's what if people believe it, then they will sell it. But yeah, I mean,
The Jumping Bomb Angels, fucking innovative. To this day, there's not women who are. I think even to this day, there's not women that can compete with the Bomb Angels because they're fucking amazing. They're doing shit that were revolutionary for men in 1988. Like they were fucking off the charts, and they're there for a little while, and they got over for sure. And the Glamour Girls, you take two veterans, Judy Martin, Leilani Kai, and build them together. You put Jimmy Hart with them. Like they only fought each other. You know what I mean? That's it. That's we talk about women's divisions of the past, and they're usually only like 2 or 3 people in that quote unquote division. But the Bomb Angels were fucking amazing. Like Jesse Ventura, loved the Bomb Angels. He put them over huge.
yeah, I mean, it's
Innovative, just innovative.
yeah, I mean, they were good. I mean, speaking of something that wasn't very good, talk about the Royal Rumble.
You were talking about Dino Bravo and his bench press record thing?
Yeah, I didn't. Not a big fan. I've never been a fan of Dino Bravo. I mean, it's just,
Didn't Road Warriors just fucking do that shit like fucking a couple of weeks before on Crockett TV?
yep, and then with the Powers of Pain and yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's always weird seeing bench. Like it's always been a thing in wrestling, and usually someone comes out or there's a contest or whatever, and like there's a confrontation there, but like there's not necessarily a confrontation here. Like it's like Dino Bravo set the record. Okay, great. Why are we doing this?
Because we can. So
Well, because who's Bravo going to feud with? Fucking Jim Duggan. And like it wasn't like Jim Duggan was out there fucking getting in his face or something like that. And I think it's pretty ridiculous. Now they always bring up that Jesse helped them on the bench press, but that's about it. It's just to get heat on Dino. I feel like they were wasting time here. For the amount of time they used on this, he probably could have had another match instead. You know what I mean? It's like, why are we doing this? Like, this is something that's on Wrestling Challenge or Primetime Wrestling or something. Like, why is this on this show? I'm not particularly. I don't know why. I just feel like fucking Crockett did it. Well, we have to do our version of it too. Fuck it.
yeah, it's.
What's Dino Bravo do in '88? You remember? I don't remember.
I'm not really sure. What year did he meet his unfortunate demise?
93-ish, I want to say. He gets murdered gangland style because he was part of the Canadian mafia. Allegedly, I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, allegedly. I mean, yeah. So
I don't know. Like, Dino was always weird to me. Like, sometimes he can be doing like top guy stuff, and then other times like he's just nope. Like, nope, we're not going to do anything with him. And he had it like in his earlier runs, like when we had title matches against Backlund and stuff. He had good matches and stuff. By this time, he's so fucking juiced to the fucking gills at this point that it's completely insane. Like he is fucking swollen, very very swollen at this point. Like, was he going for like a world's strongest man? Like, I know he was Canada's strongest man, but. Like, you're just adding on to his gimmick at this point. Like, what are we doing here? Like, who booked this? Why is this here?
yeah, I don't know why this is even on the. I mean, it's like
It's on the show. Like,
is it like
this is like a you could do a vignette. That's Ice Train coming through.
is it like
a vignette on like Challenge and do that instead. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It was just. I mean, I don't know if it was a time filler or it's just. That it was just terrible. So, I mean, it is what it is, and that's what they did back then. So I'm just saying. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, you want to talk about the first ever Royal Rumble?
Yeah. Hacksaw Jim Duggan wins it.
Tough guy.
You can still tell that they don't know how like this works yet. So even though they've practiced it on house shows, it still doesn't have a lot of the I guess tropes of a Royal Rumble, what makes it interesting at the very least. But you got 20 guys in this, and they include Bret Hart, Tito Santana, Butch Reed, Jim Neidhart, Jake Roberts, Harley Race, Jim Brunzell, your favorite wrestler, Sam Houston, Danny Davis, Boris Zukov, Don Morocco, Nikolai Volkov, Jim Duggan, Ron Bass, Beef, Brian Blair, Hillbilly Jim, Dino Bravo, the Ultimate Warriors in here, One Man Gang in the Junkyard Dog. Now, if I had to rebook this, I probably would have had Warrior win at this point. To be completely honest, because he's the guy that probably needs the push, and he's someone that you're gonna have in your back pocket. Like he wins the IC belt later on this year, so like let's get his push started. Then, if you're gonna push him like that, get his push started, and then fits the Warrior. Or Warrior can throw out baby faces and heels, and not have that be a thing. I don't know why you give this to Duggan. He's already over.
Yeah, I mean,
He just came back though from that suspension, or well, he was fired actually.
Who? Jim Duggan?
Yeah, Jim Duggan was fired because he got caught on the New Jersey Turnpike with Iron Sheik with some weed, some open cans of beer, and Sheiky had cocaine on him. So they were arrested and made all the newspapers, and they were both fired, and they were both eventually brought back.
Sheiky Baby did cocaine? Wow.
Sure.
Cocaine
is the greatest drug on the planet, first of all.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But, I mean, what were your thoughts on this match? I mean, what were your thoughts on this? I mean, match, you were like, nah, looking back at it. I mean,
I mean, again, I don't like modern Royal Rumbles. Just for the simple fact that what we see is a lot of people laying down on the ground where two guys are in the middle of the ring doing their spots. So there's not people actively trying to throw each other out all the time, or there's not multiple things going on at once. There's just but everyone's laying down and two guys are running through a routine. That's what it seems like for modern Royal Rumbles. So I like the older Royal Rumbles, I guess, up until, I don't know, 98, 99 or whatever. But, it feels more like a battle royal. Some of these guys are kind of learning the rules here as they go along. It would nice. Brett's in there for a while, which is good to see. He gets his aborted pushes every once in a while. You have some big names in here, a lot of Hall of Famers. It's cool to see. Yeah, a lot of Hall of Famers, and then Sam Houston on top of that.
Hey, don't make fun of my favorite wrestler.
He is. He's very skinny. What are your thoughts on Danny Davis, the evil referee? You think he's a WWE Hall of Famer?
Nope.
Really? So, like, you would like, oh, fucking Torrie Wilson's okay, but not Danny Davis?
Nope.
Okay.
And I have no reason why.
I think he's the Hall of Famer. He was involved in some big angles during this time. So, the criteria for Hall of Famers are so low that it's just like, oh, we just want to get this guy in a video game or something. So it's like looking at this list, who's not in the Hall of Fame? I don't think is Butch Reed in the Hall of Fame. I don't think so.
Nope, he should be.
Yeah, for sure. Jim Brunzell's not. Sam Houston isn't. Danny Davis is not. Boris Zukov is not. Ron Bass is not. Ryan Blair isn't. Dino Bravo. One Man Gang is not. So there's some guys in there that are not in the Hall of Fame. But again, there's a lot of guys in there who were in the Hall of Fame. Most notably Tito Santana is probably the biggest star in this match, I would say, at the time. Maybe Jake. So it's Royal Rumbles are always fun. You're stealing a house here. You're stealing a buy rate because historically, nothing came of this. So it's like, oh, he wins it, yay! This is before they had title matches on the line or even the championship up for grabs in the Royal Rumble. So you pop a nice little buy rate, you steal a house, and you don't have to give them anything.
Nope, it's kind of like those events where they had the $25,000 under top battle royal, and then the person tries to collect the money.
Top guys in it, Like no one's gonna lose really. We'll go to a double count out and call that a day.
Yep, it was. It was good for the first Royal Rumble, but like you said, today, I'm not a big fan of the Rumble, because
Like they're not. I don't know. It's whatever. It's just guys. Everyone's laying down. Two guys are doing spots.
or a guy, excuse me, or a guy looks like he's gets thrown out, but he doesn't. He goes under the bottom rope, it hides under the ring for 30 minutes, and you forget about him. Then he comes back and wins. So I mean, that's happened a million times. But
The most important thing on this show was the Andre Hogan contract signing for the WrestleMania 3 rematch. Again, they've not been in the ring one-on-one since WrestleMania 3. They had an altercation at Survivor Series with Andre won. So you're putting you're making Andre credible again, although Hulk Hogan already beat him. And it's going to take place February 5th, main event number 1. And like a week heading into the show, or 2 weeks into the show, Ted DiBiase comes out, who recently debuted not too long before this, and he buys Andre's contract. Now, Andre promised to Ted DiBiase, because Ted DiBiase tried to buy the WWF Championship from Hulk Hogan, which he refused. Got Andre to say, if you beat Hogan for the belt, will you sell me the belt? Andre's like, absolutely. So, he pays off the brain, he pays off Andre, and sets up this match for the main events, where Ted DiBiase is hopefully going to get his hands on the WWF Championship. Now, as we all know, and we'll probably do this show at some point, Andre does defeat Hulk Hogan for the championship belt, and then he gives the belt over to Ted DiBiase. But the weird thing about that whole angle to me is, how come Jack Tunney didn't step in earlier and be like, yo, Andre, you can't sell the belt. Or Hogan, you can't sell the belt.
Because it's fucking Jack Tunney. He was a fucking joke.
He was on the take, that's for sure. Jack on the take, Tunney. But yeah, you probably wanted to get in front of that before that became an issue, and then it became an issue. And then you have to do this tournament at WrestleMania 4. But again, overall, it's a contract signing. We see those all the time in professional wrestling. So, nothing was necessarily new. And, Andre, kind of beats up Hogan here a little bit, and that's it. And that was the setup for the main event, and that did fucking tremendous business. Like, the ratings for that show were fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember what the numbers were? I mean, they just like massively large compared to what they thought they would be.
Main event 1 did something 15.2, 33 million.
Oof, that's big.
Yeah,
That's huge.
that's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge.
That's
So
what she said.
there's one more match on this card that we have to talk about.
Yeah, no. Do you want to talk about the
Islanders. This match is fucking awesome. This is the match of the night, first and foremost. It's the Islanders taking on the Young Stallions.
Are you high?
Did you not watch this match?
Yeah.
All right, then. The match is fucking bell to bell. The match is fantastic. I dare you to go up to Haku and tell him this match sucks.
Next time I see him, I'll say your match from Royal Rumble 1988 sucked.
Now he's going to bite your nose off. So, big fan of heel Islanders. Not necessarily a big fan of the babyface Islanders, but Haku and Tama were fucking awesome, especially when they kidnapped Matilda, which they recently just reunited the Bulldogs with Matilda earlier this month. So, Haku and Tama, they're getting a push here. They're on their way to being top guys. They're managed by Bobby Brain Heenan. And they get a nice win over the Young Stallions here, which is fun. I think they beat them 2 straight, if I remember correctly.
I think they did. Yeah, I mean, it was
awesome. Like, you never see that either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never see like, oh, we just beat the shit out of you 2 straight.
Nope, you do not. But I mean, overall, I mean, before we started the show, and now we're talking. So, what would you give compared to last week? What would you give Royal Rumble 1988? A grade of 1 to 10.
This is much better than In Your House number 1. First and foremost, it depends. Like, in terms of significance, it's like a 10. In terms of in-ring actions, probably closer to a 5. So if you average that out, it's probably like a 7.
Yeah, I mean, I give it about an 8. I thought it was really good. I mean, compared to, of course,
You didn't even like the Islanders versus Young Stallions match.
I never said I didn't like it. I just wasn't a big fan of it. I liked it. It was good.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Are you a Paul Roma guy or a Jim Powers guy?
I am a pretty Paul Roma fan. So.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But I am a fan of Haku. So I'm just
Yeah, I mean, everyone's a fan of Haku. I never said it. Like, I never heard anyone like, "Oh, Haku, fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit."
at least not to his face. I mean, I'm just you'd say it behind his back, but sure as hell not to his front of his face. But
And his kids over in New Japan tearing shit up. So
yep, that was they did. Next week. We're branching into a territory we've not covered. We're covering the UWF Beach Brawl 19.
UWF. I want to be clear on that. It's not Bill Watts UWF.
It's the other UWF Beach Brawl 1991. Your thoughts? I know we already talked about it. Your thoughts before we
Commentary, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, folks. I mean, if you
Dr. Death versus Bam Bam, which is nice. You're a big fan of Sunny Beach though, and Wet n Wild. So.
well, man, anything called Wet and Wild, I mean, I'm a big fan. But I mean, folks, before you watch or before you listen to the program, watch. You have to look it up on the old interwebs on YouTube. Just look up UWF Beach Brawl 1991. You'll find it. It's a show. It's definitely different than any of the other shows that we've covered. But we're going to try to do that in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be doing a lot of great weird shows. We may even cover that promotion that you were speaking about, Alex, a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago that you said I should watch with my kid. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
No.
That promotion that has a little bit of nudity.
We're not doing fucking XPW.
What? We're not. Oh, come on.
We are never doing XPW on this show.
Why?
Because it's the worst wrestling I've ever seen in my entire life ever.
Okay. Hey,
The worst. It's literally the worst. Like, I'm not gonna do WCW 2000. I'm not gonna do fucking XPW. Like, I'll do anything else.
Coming up in a couple weeks, we're gonna be talking the entire year of 2000 WCW. I'm just joking. We will never do that, but for the great Alex G. As always, I am David Fine. If you want to follow us on social media, just click on all of the links in the show notes. If you want to watch Alex's YouTube channel, of course, click on the link. He needs as many likes and as many follows and as many retweets and all that. Huh?
Make sure you fucking hit the subscribe button.
Yes,
sure you like and leave a comment.
I know that you want to hear the ding. If you want to get the ding every month, every week that he puts something up there new on YouTube, he's got a lot of good stuff. But, click on the show notes, folks, and, buy our merchandise. Just go to the rwrewind.com. Our shirts they're selling like fucking hotcakes. I mean, folks, it's probably the number one selling piece of merchandise out there right now. And, hey, it is what it is. The people love it, and I can't keep them in stock. That's just they're just selling out like hotcakes. So get on the rwrewind.com, then click on the merch table. And of course, if you go to that website, the rwrewind.com, you can listen to all our shows from number 1 to this one, and you can read about Alex G and his story, his introduction into professional wrestling. You can hear about me. If you want to contact us, there's a contact button. If you want to bring David Fine to your party, to your wrestling event, you can contact me through.
For fuck's sake!
What?
To your party.
Hey, if
take your pants off. It's not a party unless you take your pants off.
Hey, I will even come up to your house, Alex G. Alex G, if you pay me, I will travel on my own dime to Long Island to your house to do a party with you.
Out in my neighborhood.
I know.
You never get past the fucking gated person at the door. Okay.
Is that your wife that opened the door and let me in?
We'll fucking hit you with our cattle prod, like fucking the Mountie.
Oh God. On that note, Next week, like I said, we talk UWF Beach Brawl 1991. So check that out on YouTube. And as always, we'll talk to you in the past.